الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All praises due to Allah, Lord of all that exists, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad, his family and his companions.
أخواني في رمضان كان أحد أكبر تجار من أكبر تجار الرياض.
The Shaykh said in the month of Ramadan, or one Ramadan, one of the major businessmen from Riyadh
كان يخرج من الصباح ومعه زكاة أمواله.
he would every Ramadan leave after the time of Dhuhr. He would have his wealth that he was going to distribute in zakat.
ويتوجه إلى القرى ليعطي الفقراء من زكاته بيده.
And he would go to the surrounding villages so that he could distribute his zakat by his own hand.
وفي يوم من أيام رمضان هذا
So in one of those days in the month of Ramadan,
كان متوجه نحو القرى الشرقية.
he was going to the villages to the east.
فأدركته صلاة الظهر عند محطة وقود.
And so the time of Dhuhr came in, or the time of prayer came in, and he was at a service station,
وكان قد شعر بشيء من التعب.
and he was feeling tired.
فلجأ إلى المسجد في محطة الوقود واستلقى.
So he went to the prayer area, the masjid, in the service station to rest.
فاستيقظ عن رؤية منام.
So he woke up having seen a dream.
ماذا رأى في المنام؟
What did he see in his dream?
رأى في المنام رجلا فقيرا يسكن في القرى الغربية.
He saw in his dream a poor man that lived in a village to the west.
وعرف اسم هذه القرية وهو في المنام الآن.
And he saw in his dream the name of that village.
وأن هذا لا يجد شيئا يفطر عليه في رمضان.
And he saw in his dream that this man in this village didn't even have enough to make iftar with in Ramadan. So when he woke up, he felt a desire to go to that village to the west.
وفعلا ترك القرى الشرقية وتوجه إلى الغرب.
So instead of going to those villages to the east, he directed himself to the west.
وصل إلى القرية عند أو قبل أذان المغرب.
So he arrived at that particular village just before Maghrib time.
جلس في المسجد.
And he sat in the masjid.
أذن المغرب.
And the adhan was given.
أخذ يتلفت لعله يرى هذا الفقير ما رأى.
So he's looking around to see maybe that man that he saw in his dream, maybe he's in the masjid but he can't see him.
وقيمة الصلاة.
And then the iqamah goes.
دخل رجل فتقدم وصلى بالناس.
And the imam came in and he led the prayer.
بعد الصلاة التفت الإمام إلى المصلين.
And then after the prayer, as the imam usually does, he faced the congregation.
رآه التاجر فإذا هو نفس هذا الرجل الذي رآه في المنام.
And the businessman looked at the imam and he found that that's the man of the dream.
فتوجه الإمام إلى هذا التاجر.
So the imam, he came up to the businessman after the salah.
قال أنت غريب عن هذا.
And he said, you look like a stranger to me in this village.
فأنت ضيف عندي للإفطار.
So you have to be my guest, you have to come to my home.
قال ما حاجة.
So he said, in reply, he said, it's okay, I don't need to come with you.
وهو في قال ما حاجة نذهب معكم في قرارة نفسي يريد أن يذهب ويرى حال هذا الإنسان.
He excused himself, but actually what he wants to do is go to his house and see his situation because of that dream.
فأصر عليه فذهب معه.
So the imam insisted, so they ended up going to his house.
قال والله دخلت بيته.
He said, by Allah, I entered into that house.
ما رأيت شيئا يعجبني في البيت.
And there's nothing amazing about the house, nothing that would impress you about the house.
ورأيت أولاده الصغار.
And I saw his young children.
عراه لا يوجد إلا ما يغطي عورتهم فقط.
And they are more or less naked, they only cover their aura, there's no extra clothing for them.
قال فدخل هذا الرجل نحو جهة أهله.
So the imam, he went into where his family is.
فأتاني بعد ذلك بكأس من الماء.
And then he came back and he bought me a glass of water.
قال تفضل.
And he said, here you go.
والله لو وجدت في بيتي شيئا غير هذا الماء لقدمته إليك الإفطار.
And he said, by Allah, if I had or possessed more than this glass of water for iftar, I would have given that to you as well.
ولكنني دعوتك إلى بيتي
but I want you to invite you to my house
لأنك ضيف في هذه القرية.
because you're a guest, you're a stranger in this place.
ولا يجوز لنا أن لا نضيفك.
And it's not permissible for us to just ignore you.
فقال والله لو وجدت شيء لقدمته له.
And if I had more than what I gave to you, I would have given it to you.
فقال هذا التاجر لهذا للإمام.
So the businessman, he said to the Imam,
ممكن تسمح لي أن أذهب إلى السيارة؟
he said, excuse me for a minute, I just want to go to my car.
فأذن له وذهب إلى السيارة.
So he went to his car
فأنزل من السيارة حقيبة.
and he took his briefcase
وفتح هذه الحقيبة أمام الإمام.
and then he brought it back to the Imam and opened it before him.
فإذا هي مملوءة بآلاف الريالات.
And there's thousands of riyals in that briefcase.
قال خذ منها ما شئت.
So he said to the Imam, take from this whatever you please.
قال لا أخذ شيئا.
He said, I don't want anything.
قلت على الأقل خذ لمدة سنة كاملة.
He said, at the very least, take what's enough for you, sufficient for you for a year.
قال لا أخذ شيئا.
He said, I don't want anything.
قلت لما؟
I asked him why.
قال أخشى الفتنة.
He said, I'm afraid that I will become tested and tried as a result of this.
الحمد لله أنا بخير. الله عز وجل قد أكرمني.
Because Allah Azza wa Jalla, so alhamdulillah, things are good.
فحلفت عليه أن يأخذ.
So he said, I took an oath that he must take something from this wealth.
كم أخذ؟
So how much do you think he took in the end?
كم تظنون أخذ؟
How much would you guess that he took from this briefcase?
أخذ 100 ريال.
Took 100 riyals.
كم تعادل؟
How much is that in pounds?
ما تعادل 20 باوند تقريبا.
20 pounds is what he took.
قال لمدة عام.
That's for a whole year.
قال الحمد لله يكفينا.
He said, that's all I want from you.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى دعوتك.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't forget the du'as that you make.
ولا ينسى قربك منه.
Nor does he forget your nearness to him.
أرسل الله عز وجل هذا التاجر لخدمة هذا الفقير.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent that businessman to serve that imam.
الذي ما مد يده إلى الناس.
And that imam wasn't going around begging from people,
لكنه مد يده لله
but
تبارك.
rather he was begging from Allah.
فأرسل الله عز وجل إليه هذا الإنسان.
And so Allah Azza wa Jalla sent that man to him.
تعرف على الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة.
Know Allah in times of ease, and Allah will know you in times of difficulty.
من يعظم الله يعظمه الله.
Whosoever glorifies Allah and honors Him, Allah will honor them.
انتبه انك تتعامل مع الله.
So beware, because you are dealing with Allah.
كثير من الناس يتعامل فقط مع الأسباب المادية.
Most people, they only look at materialistic means.
لو أنفقت شيء من المال سينقص مالي.
They look at, if I spend this much, then my wealth will decrease by this much.
ينسى بركة الله إنه يتعامل مع الله.
He forgets about the blessings that Allah gives to those who deal with Him.
فيتعامل فقط مع المادية.
But we just look at the things before us, the materialistic means before us.
هون فيه دكتور في الشام يسمى بالدكتور هشام.
There was a famous doctor in Sham, Syria, that region, by the name of Dr. Hisham.
وهو من أشهر الأطباء في تلك المدينة.
And he was a well-known doctor in his area.
ومتخصص بالأطفال.
And his specialism or specialty was pediatrics.
وكان من شهرته بين فترة وأخرى تطلبه مستشفيات في مدن أخرى فيسافر إليها بالطائرة.
And he was so well known that from time to time other cities would request that he should fly over to them so that he could deal with patients there.
ويقوم كذلك بإجراء عمليات للأطفال.
And he would carry out surgery and perform operations and look after people there.
في يوم من الأيام توجه بالطائرة من الشام من دمشق إلى مدينة أخرى.
So one day, as he was traveling by air from Damascus to another city,
في الطريق تعطلت الطائرة بعض الشيء حصل فيها عطل.
on the way there was a problem with the aeroplane.
فاضطرت للنزول بين دمشق وبين المدينة الأخرى.
And so the plane had to land suddenly in a close by airport.
الآن هذا الطبيب عنده عملية لابد أن يصل المدينة في وقت محدد.
But this doctor, he's got work to do. He needs to get to his destination because there's people waiting for him for treatment.
ذهب إلى المسؤولين عن الطائرة.
So he went to the airline staff.
قال متى ستقوم بالإصلاح إلى أن نذهب؟
And he asked them, when will this plane be fixed? When are we going to continue?
فقال ربما نتعطل ربما نأخذ مدة 16 ساعة.
They said it's going to take us about 16 hours.
قال كيف؟
He said, how?
قال
They he said, this is the situation.
قال لابد أن أصل إلى تلك المدينة الآن عندي عملية.
He said, I have to go there, I have appointments, I need to get to my destination.
قال يمكنك أن تستأجر سيارة خلال ساعتين تصل إلى تلك المدينة.
They said that we're only 2 hours away from our destination, you can hire a car and drive there.
استأجر السيارة.
So he hired a car.
وتوجه إلى تلك المدينة.
And he started driving towards that city.
في الطريق نزل المطر.
And on the way, there was a storm.
واشتد نزول المطر.
And it was a severe storm.
بحيث لم يستطع إكمال المسيرة.
So severe that he couldn't continue driving.
فاضطر إلى اللجوء إلى قرية.
So he had to stop at a nearby village.
وجد بيتا عند يعني في مقدمة القرية وجد بيتا.
And so as he entered into that village, he came across a house.
فتوجه إلى هذا البيت.
So he went to that house.
طرق الباب.
And he knocked on the door.
فسمع صوت امرأة كبيرة في السن تقول له تفضل تفضل.
And he heard an old woman from inside telling him to come in.
وغالبا أهل القرى دائما يضيفون الناس ودائما الناس يمرون عليهم ويضيفون الناس.
And the people of villages are known for their hospitality. Strangers happen to come upon them and they help them out, they welcome them.
قال دخلت البيت فإذا امرأة عجوز كبيرة في السن.
So he said, I entered into this house and I saw an old woman.
فقال له تفضل اجلس في هذا المجلس.
And so she said to me, come in and sit in that room over there.
وأمام في هذا المجلس فاكهة.
And there was a fruit bowl there.
قال له كل من هذه الفاكهة إلى أن يخف الوضع ثم بعد ذلك شوف الطريق انظر إلى الطريق.
And she said, take from the fruit, rest until you're ready to continue your journey.
فشكرها على هذا.
So he thanked her.
وهي جالسة في مكان آخر من هذا البيت.
And she's sitting in a different room in the house.
ويسمع صوت طفل يئن.
But he could hear a child crying.
فيرى المرأة العجوز تذهب إلى هذا الطفل تسكته ثم ترجع إلى مكانها.
So he could see or he could hear the woman, the old woman, would get up, go to the child, calm the child down, then go back and sit down.
ثم بعد فترة يسمع بكاء الطفل تذهب إليه تسكته ثم ترجع.
And then after a while, the child would cry again. She would do the same thing, go and calm down the child, and then go and sit down. So after a while, he asked the woman, "What's wrong with the child?" She said, "That's my grandson, and he is sick."
فسألته في هذه القرية قال يوجد هناك في المدينة في دمشق دكتور متخصص في ذلك.
So I asked the people of the village for treatment, and they said the only person that can treat this child is a doctor all the way in Damascus.
ويوجد في هذه القرية طبيب قال لها هذا المرض لا يعرفه إلا دكتور موجود في دمشق.
And the local doctor said to her, "We can't deal with this. The specialist for this condition, he lives in Damascus."
ولكنه يطلب مالا كثيرا لمداواته.
But he's expensive.
ما اسم هذا الدكتور؟
What's the name of that doctor?
قال اسم هذا الدكتور دكتور هشام.
They said his name is Dr. Hisham.
تقول وأنا ما عندي مال.
So this woman said, "I don't have any money.
لا أستطيع السفر إلى دمشق.
I can't travel all the way to Damascus.
وليس لي مال لأدخل على هذا الدكتور يأخذ أموال.
And nor can I pay for this doctor's services."
فقال لها دعيني أنظر إلى هذا الطفل.
So the doctor said, "Let me check out the child."
ومعه عدة فحص إلى آخره.
And he had with him his equipment and so on.
فوصف لها العلاج وأخرج له العلاج قال تفضلي هذا العلاج.
And so he realized what was wrong with the child and he gave her medicine for the child.
قالت له من أنت؟
So she asked him, "Who are you?"
قال أنا الدكتور هشام.
He said, "I am Dr. Hisham.
الله عز وجل أرسلني إليك.
Allah sent me to you."
بكت هذه المرأة العجوز.
So this old woman began to cry.
إخواني كانت تحتاج إلى المال للذهاب إليه.
This woman needed a great deal of wealth in order to be able to travel to that doctor.
عندما رفعت يديها وسألت الله عز وجل.
But when she raised her hands to Allah and made dua to him,
الله عز وجل أرسل إليها الدكتور إلى بيتها.
Allah Azza wa Jalla made the doctor come to her house.
جعله محتاجا إليها.
And he was the one who was in need of her at that moment.
ولم تدفع ولا ترسل واحد.
And she didn't even spend a penny on him.
كن مع الله يكن الله عز وجل.
So be with Allah and Allah will be with you.
فانتبه انك تتعامل مع الله.
So beware because you are dealing with Allah.
لا تتعلق فقط بالأسباب المادية هكذا.
Don't just connect yourself to the materialistic means.
اعمل ما عندك من الأسباب المادية.
But do what you can from those means.
ولكن اجعل قلبك متعلقا بالله.
But your heart should be attached only to Allah.
هو الذي يدير الكون.
Who is the one who controls the universe?
هو الذي يدبر الأمور كلها.
And He is the one who controls everything.
أما يستطيع أن يحل الله عز وجل مشكلته.
So if Allah controls all of that, can He deal with your issue and your problem?
أنت تتعامل مع الله.
You are dealing with Allah.
إخواني يخبرني دكتور عباس معروف.
The Sheikh said that there's someone he knows back home by the name of Dr. Abbas.
وهو عميد كلية الهندسة.
And he is the dean of the Faculty of Engineering in Kuwait.
يقول حدثت لي قصة غريبة.
He was telling the Sheikh, he was saying that a strange incident occurred.
قال عندما أصبحت في ذاك اليوم كان عندنا اجتماع مع رؤساء الأقسام في كلية الهندسة.
He said one morning I had a meeting in the university with the department heads.
قال فتوجهت إلى الجامعة لحضور هذا الاجتماع.
So he said I left out wanting to go to the university for that meeting.
قال تصوروا هذا بيته هنا، بيته
The Sheikh
هذا المكان.
Sheikh said imagine this microphone is where he lives, his house.
وهنا هنا الجامعة طبعا في منطقة بعيد في منطقة على يمين منطقة بيته.
And to the right of his house is the area where his university is.
لكن بعيدة عنه.
And it's far away.
وعندنا مجمع المزارات في الجهة اليسرى.
And there's another place which is like an industrial area on the left.
قال فانطلقت بالسيارة إلى أن ذهبت إلى الجامعة ووقفت.
So he said that I was driving, going to the university, and I stopped my car.
فتفاجأت إذا أنا أمام مجمع المزارات لست عند الجامعة.
And he said that I was surprised that instead of going to the university, I ended up at that other area, the industrial area.
وهذه تحدث لكثير من الناس. تحدث لكثير
The
من
Sheikh said
الناس.
that's normal, sometimes it happens to people.
ينشغل ذهنه.
Because you're preoccupied.
وكان معتادا إلى الذهاب إلى مكان ففعلا كان معتادا الذهاب إلى مجمع المزارات.
And because you're used to taking a certain route or you're taking a number of times before, you just kind of go to that place.
لأنه كان يوم من الأيام هو المدير العام لمؤسسة عند مجمع الوزارات.
Because this Dr. Abbas, before he became a professor, what he used to do was he used to work in one of those companies in that area.
كان هو المدير العام لهذه.
He used to be the CEO, the general manager of one of those companies.
قال أنا وصلت الآن إلى هذا المكان.
So he ended up going back to his previous place of employment.
وبسبب الآن وقت الدوام، وقت العمل.
And this is rush hour, morning rush hour.
لو أردت أن أذهب إلى كلية الهندسة سيأخذ مني وقت طويل.
And now for him to go back to the university would take too long.
فاتصل في الكلية وأخبرهم وأخبر السكرتير بأن يخبر رؤساء الأقسام سيتأجل الاجتماع إلى يوم آخر.
So he called his secretary and said we need to delay the meeting. Today is not a good time, we'll do it another time.
قلت إذا لأدخل على هذه المؤسسة حتى أسلم على الموظفين وعلى المدير، كنت أعرفهم ومكثت معهم سنوات طويلة.
And so he thought to himself, now that I'm here, let me go and visit my old colleagues, the place that I used to work, let me just go and give salams to them.
قال عندما دخلت على المدير العام الذي مسك مكاني أنا.
So he said that I went to the new general manager, the one who came after him, he took his position.
قال عندما رآني تبسم.
So he said when he saw me, he smiled.
قال دكتور عباس انحلت المشكلة، ما حاجة تأتي.
He said, Dr. Abbas, we dealt with the issue, you didn't need to come all this way.
قلت أي مشكلة؟
So I asked him, what problem, what issue?
قال أنت تتغافل، أنت تظهر كأنك لا تعرف المشكلة.
He said, I know you're joking, but it's okay, it's done.
قال تفضل.
So he said, come and sit down.
قال فاتصل في موظفة، قال تفضل الدكتور عباس موجود عندنا.
So then he picked up the phone, the general manager, he called one of his employees and he said, come, Dr. Abbas has arrived.
أتت هذه الموظفة عندما رأتني.
That lady, she came, the employee, she came in.
قال دكتور عباس جزاك الله خير، الحمد لله انحلت المشكلة.
She said, Dr. Abbas, it's okay, we dealt with the issue before you got here.
قلت أي مشكلة؟
So I said, what issue?
قلت أنت أتيت من أجله.
She said, the same reason why you came on this way. But he said, I don't know what the problem was.
فعند المدير قامت واتصلت بأمها، أمها امرأة كبيرة في السن.
So then the employee, she called her mother, and her mother was an elderly woman.
قالت يا أمه دكتور عباس وصل عندنا هنا موجود.
And she said, mother, this Dr. Abbas is also right, he's coming to deal with this issue.
قالت الحمد لله أعطيني وكلم دعيني وكلم الدكتور.
So she said, okay, give him the phone, I want to speak to him.
فقالت له أمها وهي في الهاتف، فقالت دكتور عباس الحمد لله جزاك الله خير المشكلة انحلت.
So she said to him on the phone, the mother, she said, it's okay, everything's dealt with, no problem.
قلت يا عالم الذي حدث.
So he said, I still don't know what the issue is.
قالت يا دكتور أتتني ابنتي في نهاية دوام الأسبوع السابق، الأسبوع الفائت.
She said, my daughter, the mother is saying that my daughter came to me before the weekend on the last day of work.
فأتتني وهي تبكي.
She came to me crying.
قالت لقد ظلموني في العمل.
And she said that they're oppressing me at work.
وخصموا مني مبلغا كبيرا.
And they deducted from my wages.
والخطأ لم يكن مني أبدا.
And it's because of a fault, but it wasn't my fault.
وإنما كان من موظف آخر.
But that was someone else who made the error.
ولكنهم ألبسوني هذا الخطأ.
But they blamed me for their error.
حاولت أبين لم يسمعوا كلامي.
So I tried to tell them what took place, but they ignored me.
يا الله انقذيني من هذا الأمر.
So she said to her mother, help me, save me from this.
قالت وما بيدي أنا وأنا عجوز في البيت.
So the mother replied, I'm an old woman, what am I meant to do?
والله ما عندي شيء.
I can't do anything for you.
إلا الله تبارك وتعالى.
Except that I can make dua to Allah.
ثم الدكتور عباس يوم من الأيام كان هو المدير العام.
And then there was the old general manager, Dr. Abbas, I knew him.
يقول أخذت ابنتي تبكي بذهبت إلى غرفتي وهي تبكي.
And so she said, my daughter left me, she's crying.
تقول هذه الأم فمكثت يومين في الليل في آخر الليل أدعو الله عز وجل.
So the mother said, I spent 2 nights awake in prayer. Towards the end of the night, those 2 nights I would stand in prayer.
أن يرسلك الله عز وجل إلى هذه المؤسسة لتحل مشكلة ابنتي.
And asked Allah that He would send you to your former place of work, that you could deal with this issue and solve it for her.
فلما ابتدأ الأسبوع الذي بعده.
So when the next week started, the next week work,
أتت هذه الموظفة فعندما بدأت بالدوام وأتت إلى عملها.
when my daughter went back to work on that first day of the week,
أعادوا النظر في هذا الموضوع.
they had already looked at the issue again.
وفعلا تبين بأنها مظلومة.
And they realized that they wronged her.
فاعتذروا منها.
So they apologized.
ورفعوا هذا الخصم عنها.
And they gave her back her full wages.
بعد ما رفعوا فإذا فاتصلت هي بأمها وأخبرتها.
And so she called her mother and told her.
في هذه اللحظة بعدما اتصلت وذهبت إلى غرفتها هذه.
So once she finished her phone call to her mother and she went back to her office,
إلى الدكتور عباس يدخل على المدير.
that's when the Dr. Abbas happened to arrive.
ولذا قال لها انحلت المشكلة يعني بأنه يعرف أمها.
And that's why everyone thought he'd come to deal with the issue because he knew the mother of that lady.
سبحان الله. بدعوة هذه الأم الله عز وجل حل مشكلتها.
Due to the dua of the elderly lady, Allah Azza wa Jal saved her, helped her.
دون الاحتياج إلى الدكتور عباس.
Without even Dr. Abbas needing to get involved.
وأرسل الدكتور عباس استجابة كانت لدعوته.
And Allah Azza wa Jal made Dr. Abbas come because he responded to that dua of that lady.
وأتى فقط ضيف شرف. لم يكن له دور في هذا.
And he came simply to honor the situation. He had no involvement.
حتى يعرف العبد بأن الذي يحل مشاكله هو الله.
So that a person would know that they would know that the one who dealt with the issue was Allah alone.
لئلا تتعلق القلوب بالخلق.
So that their heart wouldn't become attached to another person.
لو تدخل الدكتور عباس فكان سبب في حل مشكلتي إذا ربما تعلقت القلوب بالخلق.
Because had Dr. Abbas been the one to deal with the issue, maybe they would have become attached to him instead. So beware when you are dealing with Allah.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى دمعتك.
Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forget your tears.
التي سالت على خدك خوفا من الله وحبا لله عز وجل.
Those tears that are upon your cheeks because of your love for Allah and your fear of Him.
دمعتك غالية على الله.
Your tears are precious to Allah.
دعوتك غالية على الله.
And your dua is precious to Allah.
ما تظن بالأم ترى ابنها يبكي وهو يسألها سؤالا وهو يبكي.
Do you not see when a mother sees her child crying and asking and speaking to her?
وبيدها حل مشكلته.
And she is able to help that child.
ألا تحل مشكلته.
Doesn't she go and help the child and solve his issues?
الله عز وجل أرحم بك من أمك. الله عز وجل أرحم بك من أمك.
Allah Azza wa Jal is more merciful to you than your mother.
فأنت غالي على الله.
For you are precious to Allah.
ألمك غالي على الله.
And the pain that you feel is precious to Allah.
إذا كنت مع الله كان الله عز وجل معك.
So long as you are with Allah, Allah will be with you.
انظر إلى نبي الله يوسف عليه السلام.
Look at the Prophet of Allah, Yusuf alayhi salam.
أخذ واسترق وأصبح مملوكا.
He was taken and left and sold into slavery.
عندما استرق وبيع.
And then as he was sold,
راودته امرأة العزيز.
the wife of his master tried to seduce him.
لكنه كان مع الله.
But he was with Allah.
قال معاذ الله.
And he turned to Allah and sought refuge with Him.
حاول فيه النسوة.
The women of that town also tried to seduce him.
قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني.
And he said, oh Allah, prison is more beloved to me than what they call me towards.
عندما دخل السجن.
And then when he was in prison,
أول كلمة قالها للمساجين
The first thing that he said to his inmates, his fellow inmates,
أخبرهم بأنه ابن دعاة إلى الله وهو يسير على ملة إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب.
he told them that he was the son of prophets and that they were people who called to Allah alone.
إني تركت ملة قوم لا يؤمنون بالله وهم بآخرتهم كافرون.
And he said that I have left the religion of those who do not believe in Allah and they are disbelievers of the hereafter.
واتبعت ملة آبائي إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب.
And he said instead I followed the religion of my forefathers Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub.
ما كان لنا أن نشرك بالله من
It's
شيء.
not befitting for us to associate anyone in worship with Allah.
ذلك من فضل الله علينا وعلى الناس.
That is from the favors that Allah has bestowed upon us and upon mankind.
ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون.
But the majority of people are ungrateful.
يا صاحبي السجن أرباب متفرقون خير.
Oh my fellow inmates, are many gods better?
أم الله الواحد القهار.
Or Allah, the one, the all-powerful?
وهكذا ندعوهم إلى الله عز
And
وجل.
this is how he continued calling them to Allah.
كان مع الله.
He was with Allah,
الله معه.
so Allah was with him.
مرت الأيام.
Many days passed by,
أصبح بعد ذلك رئيس وزراء مصر عزيز مصر.
and Yusuf alayhi salam becomes the prime minister of that land.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى القليل منك.
Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forget the small amount that you do.
لا يضل ربي ولا ينسى.
For Allah Azza wa Jal is not forgetful.
قال عبد بن مروان
The Khalifa Abdul Malik ibn Marwan,
في يوم من الأيام كان يسير مع حاشيته
he was one day walking with his entourage,
فمروا على بئر
and they came across a well.
فأطل في البئر
So he looked into the well,
وكان بيده دينار ذهب
and he had a gold coin in his hand.
فسقط هذا الدينار في البئر
So the gold coin fell from his hand into the well,
وكان في البئر أوساخ
and there was a well that had impurities in it.
فأراد النزول في البئر
So he wanted to go down into the well.
قال يا أمير نحن ننزل عنك
So the people around him, his entourage, said, "We will go down instead."
قال لا أنا سأنزل.
He said, "No, I want to go myself."
نزل واستخرج هذه القطعة النقدية التي سقطت منه
So he went down and he took that gold coin that fell,
ثم ارتفع بعد ذلك
and then he came out of the well.
قال يا أمير تنزل من أجل قطعة نقدية
So they said to him, "Oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, you went down just for that one gold coin?"
قال لا من أجل القطعة النقدية هذه
He said, "No, it wasn't because of the coin,
لأن عليها اسم الله عز
but
وجل
rather because on the coin is the name of Allah.
فأنا الذي أخذ اسم الله تبارك
I wanted to go and serve and honor the name of Allah.
أنا الذي أعظم اسم الله
I wanted to glorify the name of Allah."
الله عز وجل سخر له المشرق والمغرب
Because Allah Azza wa Jal had made him the Khalifa over the East and the West.
إلى أن وصل مملكته وصلت إلى مشارف الصين مشارف روسيا
Until his kingdom expanded all the way to China and Russia,
وصلت إلى المغرب العربي إلى منتصف أفريقيا
and then to the middle of Africa, Central Africa, and to all the way up to Morocco.
عظم الله عز وجل فعظمه الله
And so Allah Azza wa Jal, because he glorified him, Allah glorified him in return.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى طاعتك
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't forget the good that you do, your
لا
obedience to
ينسى,
him.
لا ينسى صلاتك
He doesn't forget your salah,
لا ينسى دعائك
or your dua,
لا ينسى صدقتك
or your charity,
لا ينسى وجودك في مجلس العلم
or the fact that you're sitting in this gathering here now.
لا ينسى دمعتك
He doesn't forget the tears that you shed.
أنت ربما تنسى أمور كثيرة قدمها لك الناس
You may forget many of the favors that people do to you for you.
لكن الله عز وجل أقل قليل لا ينسى
But Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forget even the smallest thing that you have
من
done.
عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن
Allah says, whoever does good, male or female, from the believers,
فلنحيينه حياة
we
طيبة
will give to him a goodly life,
ولنجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون.
and we will reward him with the best of that which they used to do.
الله عز وجل كبير سبحانه
For Allah Azza wa Jal is great, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
وكن مع الله لأن الله عز وجل معك.
Be with Allah and Allah will be with you.
هذا من جانب.
This is one side.
نأخذ الجانب الآخر.
Now let us look at the opposite side.
إذا تعلقت بغير الله تبارك وتعالى
If you become attached to other than Allah,
يجعل الله عز وجل هذا الشيء الآخر عذابا عليك.
Allah Azza wa Jal will make that thing that you become attached to, He will make it a source of punishment upon you.
إذا جعلته يشغلك عن الله عز وجل جعل الله عز وجل عذابك على يديك.
If that is something which preoccupies you, distracts you from Allah, it will become a punishment for you.
إخواني كان في طبيب في الشام.
The Sheikh said that there used to be a doctor in Asham,
وهو متخصص بأمراض النساء.
and he was a specialist in women's issues.
وكان يفكر في جمع أموال كثيرة.
And he was someone who had become extremely wealthy because of his job.
حتى على عظام الناس.
He would do it even if it meant hurting people,
لكي يجعل عائلته في كمال الرفاهية.
so that he could make his family from the richest of families.
وكان لا يخرج من عيادته إلى المرأة المريضة إلا بليرة ذهب.
He wouldn't leave his clinic and go and visit a lady in her house for treatment unless she paid him in a gold coin in those days.
وكانوا فقراء.
And the people of that time, they were poor.
فكان ما يقبل حتى لو رأى المرأة تموت أمامه ما يلتفت.
He was someone who, even if he saw a woman died in front of him, he wouldn't help her.
إلى أن يبيع ضمن العائلة فقيرة تبيع ما في بيتها من أثاث من أجل جمع ليلة ذهب حتى تدخل على الزوج.
To the extent that a family would sell all of its possessions to be able to get that gold coin to pay him in gold for his services.
جمع ثروة كبيرة.
And so in this way he gathered a great deal of wealth.
وبنى قصبا.
And he built his mansion.
مرت الأيام.
And many days passed by.
أصيب بالشلل.
And then he became paralyzed.
فألقته زوجته في القبر في تحت الدور الأرضي.
And so his wife, when he became paralyzed, she put him in the basement of the house.
وكانت لا تأتيه إلا يوما واحدا في الأسبوع.
And she would only visit him, come down to the basement once a week to see him.
وفي أسبوع من الأسابيع لم تأتيه في هذا اليوم.
So one week she didn't come at all.
فخاطب الخادمة قال أخبري سيدتك إن هذا اليوم وما أتتني.
So he spoke to the maid and he said, why did my wife come this week to see me?
أخبرت هذه الخادمة أخبرت السيدة بذلك.
So the maid, she told the wife.
نزلت إليه السيد.
So she came down.
قالت اسمع.
And she said to her husband, listen.
إذا سمعت مرة أخرى بأنك اشتكيت علي أو اشتكيت معبد زيارتي.
If I ever hear again that you're complaining that I don't visit enough,
لأخرجنك من البيت وألقيك في الشارع.
I'll kick you out of this house. And so he could only stay quiet. Look at this man.
تجبر على أولئك الضعفاء والفقراء والنساء الفقراء.
He was someone who transgressed over the rights of those poor and needy people.
من أجل زوجته يجمع المال لزوجته.
Because he wanted to gather that money for his wife and his own family.
سلط الله عز وجل عليه زوجته إلى أن ألقته في القبر.
But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made that same wife his enemy and she placed him in that basement. So beware, be careful because you are dealing with Allah. Allah Azza wa Jalla watches over you and He knows what you do. If you turn away from Allah, Allah will turn away from you. Rather, Allah Azza wa Jalla will help the one who is your enemy that will destroy you. If you turn away from Allah. Look at the greatest kings that ever lived upon the earth. One of the greatest kings ever upon earth was Pharaoh. He would say that I am your Lord the Most High. And he was told that his kingdom, he would be destroyed at the hands of a man from Bani Israel. And so he began to kill the male children of Bani Israel. So his advisor said to him, how will we have future slaves if you kill all of their children? So then what's the solution?
قالوا في سنة عندما تولد مواليد الذكور في سنة اقتل هؤلاء الذكور مواليد في السنة التي في هذه السنة.
They said to him, 1 year, kill all of those male children that you want to kill.
وفي السنة التي بعدها إذا ولد مواليد الذكور لا تقتل.
But the next year, let them live.
وهكذا سنة.
Do 1 year where you kill them, 1 year where you let them live.
قال أنا أسألكم تتوقعون أن يولد موسى في أي سنة؟ في السنة التي يقتل فيها الذكور أم لا يقتل فيها الذكور حتى ينجو؟
The Shaykh said that if you were just to think about this, which year would you think that Allah would have sent the Prophet Musa? In the year that they would be killing or no killing? Because the point is that he will be saved from this type of disaster. The Shaykh is asking which year would make more sense for him to be born in? Would it make more sense for him to be in the year there is killing or no?
متوقع في السنة التي لا يقتل فيها حتى ينجو.
it would make more sense for him to be born in the year that there is no killing so that he could go and complete his mission.
لكن الله عز وجل جعل موسى يولد في السنة التي يقتل فيها.
But Allah decreed that he would be born in the year in which there was to be killing.
يا فرعون إن استطعت أن تمد يدك إليه قطعنا يدك.
It's as if Allah is challenging Pharaoh that if he is able to harm Musa, he would be destroyed.
ولد في السنة التي يقتل فيها.
So Musa alayhi salam was born in that year.
ربما الجنود عندما يمرون ربما لا يمرون على هذه المرة، ربما يغفلون عنها.
Perhaps we would say maybe it would be the case that the army, the soldiers of Pharaoh, they would forget to check the house of Musa alayhi salam and his mother.
ولكنهم دخلوا بيته.
But no, that's not the case. They entered into that house.
ولكن أم موسى جعلت صندوق على النيل، بيته على النيل، جعلت هذا الصندوق متى ما سمعت بصوت الجنود جعلته في هذا الصندوق وربطت الصندوق.
But the mother of Musa was prepared. She knew that when the soldiers were to come, she was going to take Musa, place him in a basket, place him in the river.
سمعت صوت الجنود.
So as she heard the sound of the soldiers approaching,
أخذت ابنها وجعلته في الصندوق.
she placed Musa alayhi salam in the basket.
دخل الجنود.
They entered.
بحثوا في البيت ما وجدوا أحد.
They searched the house and they didn't find a child.
تركوها خرج.
So they left and they went.
ذهبت إلى ابنها.
So Musa alayhi salam's mother went to retrieve her son.
الحمد لله ابني ناجي ابنها قد نجا.
And she was praising Allah that he had been saved from the army of Pharaoh.
نجا من الوصول إلى فرعون.
Meaning that he's been saved from Pharaoh having to being able to harm him.
لكنها بسبب الاضطراب عندما سمع صوت الجنود نسيت أن تربط هذا.
But because of the fear that she was in, she forgot to tie the basket to a pole.
نظرت إلى الصندوق.
So when she went to look for the basket,
فرأت جريان الماء يأخذه إلى قصر فرعون.
she saw that the river had taken him away.
كادت تفقد عقلها.
She was about to lose her senses.
سيصل إلى فرعون سيقوم بقتله الآن.
Because if that basket goes to the palace of Pharaoh, they'll kill the child.
وصل بين يدي فرعون.
And now that basket comes to the palace of Pharaoh.
ربما يقول فرعون بأن هذا المولود ليس إسرائيليا.
Maybe we could say that Pharaoh wouldn't realize that this child is a child of Bani Israel.
فينجو من القتل.
And therefore he would be saved anyway.
الله عز وجل أبدا.
But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't do that either.
حرم عليه المرض.
Rather, Allah Azza wa Jalla made Musa alayhi salam refuse the milk of any woman.
ما قبل أن يرضع إلا من إسرائيلية وهي أمه.
And he only accepted the suckling of his own mother, and she's a woman from Bani Israel.
إذا دي واضح بأنها أمه.
And so it became apparent that this lady, that's his actual mother.
مع ذلك ما قتل.
But even so, he wasn't able to harm him.
ألقى الله عز وجل حبه في قلبه.
But rather, Pharaoh grew to love this child.
وفي قلب امرأته.
And the wife of Pharaoh loved the child.
نجا نبينا موسى.
And so Allah Azza wa Jalla saved the Prophet Musa.
بعظمة إلهية ليس بأسباب الماضية.
Not because of the means of the earth, but because of his divine will subhanahu wa ta'ala.
يقول ابن عباس
Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said,
في يوم من الأيام
one day,
كان ابن الله موسى وهو صغير عام يرضع.
as Musa alayhi salam was a young child, a baby, a toddler,
فجأة توجه إلى فرعون وبين فرعون وبين امرأته توجه إلى فرعون وشد لحيته بقوة.
and as he was sitting with Pharaoh and his wife, he came to Pharaoh and he pulled his beard.
وانتم تعرفون اخواني الرضع الصغار يدهم طويل في
And you know, a child when it grabs something, a child, a baby, when it holds on, it's very powerful.
فرعون ما تجرأ أحد من المملكة أن يمد يده إلى لحيته ويجره.
And no one had the audacity to reach out and touch the beard of the Pharaoh.
هذا الذي سيكون قتل عليه.
And so he realized that this child would be the one to destroy him.
كل الدلائل تدل بأنه هو الذي سيقتل على يد هذا.
All of these signs are showing that this is this child that will grow up and destroy his kingdom.
فقالت امرأته هذا الطفل لا يفهم ولا يفقه.
But his wife said to him, it's a baby, it's a child, it doesn't understand what he's doing.
اجعل له تمرا واجعل له جمرا. انظر ماذا يختار.
Or rather, look, give him a date and give him a coal and see which one of the two he will choose.
أخذ الجمر وجعلها في فمه.
He took the hot coal and he placed it in his mouth.
فأثرت على لسانه.
And that is why it is said that he had a speech impediment. And that is the dua that he makes in the Quran. Allah untied the knot of my tongue. Because he chose the coal. And that is a sign for Pharaoh, another sign that he's choosing something which is like a coal that will destroy him. Many days passed by. And Musa alayhi salam is the one who by Allah's will destroyed Pharaoh. Allah Azza wa Jalla made the child that Pharaoh looked after be the source of his destruction.
لأن فرعون تعامل مع الله عز وجل بخصومة.
Because Pharaoh became an opponent to Allah.
الله عز وجل أن تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful because you're dealing with Allah.
الله عز وجل قد يبدل الأدوار.
Allah Azza wa Jalla may change your whole situation.
أنت السيد يجعلك أنت الضعيف.
You may be the leader one day, but the next day you are weak.
وذاك الضعيف وأنت الضعيف قد يجعلك أنت.
And that weak person that you oppress becomes the leader.
هذه الحياة دائما تدور.
Because that is the nature of life.
كلكم يعلم قصة نبي الله يوسف عليه السلام.
All of us are familiar with the story of Yusuf alayhi salam.
مملوك.
He was a slave,
سجن ظلما.
and then he was imprisoned unjustly.
من قبل من؟
Who were the people who oppressed him?
من قبل رئيس الوزراء.
He was imprisoned by the prime minister.
عزيز مصر هو الذي سجنه.
He's the one who imprisoned him.
ما حصل مع الأيام؟
But what happens over time?
تبدلت الأدوار.
They changed, swap positions.
كان يوسف مع الله عز وجل.
Because Yusuf alayhi salam was with Allah.
أصبح عزيز مصر.
He now becomes a prime minister.
كان مملوكا فجأة يوسف عزيز مصر.
From going to a slave to becoming one of the most powerful people.
وأزيح عزيز مصر.
And the old prime minister is removed.
تبدلت الأدوار.
And so the situation, the roles are changed.
لا تطغى بمالك.
So don't transgress with your wealth,
ولا بعقلك.
or with your intellect,
ولا بقوتك.
or with your strength,
ولا بجاهك وبمكانك.
or due to your position.
ولكن كن ذليل بين يدي عظمة الله عز
But
وجل.
rather humble yourself before Allah's greatness.
الله عز وجل قد يبدل الأدوار.
For maybe Allah will change your situation.
الناس تخدمك.
People may serve you today,
ربما غدا أن تقوم بخدمتهم.
but tomorrow it may be you that may be serving them.
بل قد يحوجك الله عز وجل إلى خصمك إذا ما خصمت الله.
But if you become an opponent to Allah, Allah will make you in need of your opponents.
أخوة يوسف ماذا فعلوا بأخيه؟
What happened to the brothers of Yusuf?
ألقوه في الجب.
They're the ones who left him for dead in the well,
يتخلصوا منه.
that they wanted to be rid of him.
مرت الأيام.
But after the days had passed,
احتاجوا إليه.
they were the ones who were in need of him.
يا أيها العزيز.
They came to him and said, Oh Aziz,
مسنا وأهلنا الضر.
our family and ourselves and our family, we've been struck with difficulty.
وجئنا ببضاعة مزجاة مدفوعة لا يجدها أحد.
And we have come to you with our possessions.
فأوفي لنا الكيل.
So fulfill for us our ration
وتصدق علينا.
and be charitable towards us.
أحسن إلينا.
Meaning be good towards us.
محتاجون إليك.
Because we have come in need.
الله. كنتم في السابق ألقيتموه في الجب.
These are the same brothers who wanted to be rid of him.
للتخلص منه.
They wanted to be rid of him.
الآن أنتم محتاجون
And
إليه.
now today they are in need of him.
ثم سجدوا له بعد ذلك.
And then as we know, they go on to prostrate to him.
وخروا له سجدا.
And they fell in prostration before him.
الله عز وجل قد يحوجك إلى خصمك إذا لم تحسن التعامل مع الله.
If you don't deal with Allah in the right way, Allah Azza wa Jalla may make you in need of the people who are your
إذا
opponents.
تكبرت في موضع التواضع وضعك الله عز وجل في موضع الجاه.
If you are arrogant in a place that you should show humility before Allah, then Allah will humble you in another place.
يقول أحد أتباع التابعين
One of the scholars of that Bab
ذهبت إلى
Tabi'in,
الحج
he said that I went for Hajj.
فرأيت في السعي بين الصفا والمروة
And he said, as I was making sa'i between Safa and Marwa,
رأيت رجلا من أكبر تجار بغداد
he said, I saw one of the major businessmen of Baghdad at that time.
على دابته يسعى بين الصفا والمروة
He was riding on an animal making sa'i.
وحوله المماليك والحشم والخدم
And around him are his entourage, his servants, and those people.
ويدفعون الناس لكي يمهد له الطريق.
And they're pushing people aside so that he can make his sa'i upon his riding animal.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
So this scholar said, thought to himself,
في هذا الموضع
in this case, this is how you behave.
مرت السنون.
So he said, many years passed by.
دخلت بغداد.
And that scholar then ended up visiting Baghdad.
وكان الجسر في بغداد وهذا من أشهر الأماكن في بغداد.
And there used to be a bridge that would take people into Baghdad, the city, and it's one of the most famous places.
ودائما الناس كانوا يمرون عليه، كل أهل بغداد يمرون عليه يوميا.
And people use it as a way of getting in and out of the city.
رأيت رجلا ممزق فيها.
So he said that I saw a man with ripped clothing
يمد يديه إلى الناس.
and stretching his hands asking for money.
كان ذاك الرجل اللي كان على الصف.
He said that it seemed to me that this was the same man who was making sa'i all those years ago.
اقتربت منه.
So he said I came closer to him
ونظرت إليه.
And I looked at him, and the man said, "Why are you looking at me?" He said, "Because you look familiar to me. Many years ago, I saw someone like you making sa'i." He said, "Yes, that was me." So I asked him, "What happened to you?" He said that I showed arrogance at a place where I should have shown humility. And now Allah Azza wa Jalla has humbled me in this place where others have power over me. So be careful when you are dealing with Allah.
في حياته الحدث الذي يحصل له يتكرر له مرتين.
Every one of us, whatever takes place in our lives, it takes place 2 times.
كل حدث يمر عليك مرتين في حياتك.
Everything that takes place to you happens to you twice.
في المرة الأولى من الحدث تكون أنت البطل.
The first time that it takes place, you are in charge.
وغيرك هو الضحية.
And someone else, they're the ones who have no choice.
إذا سيتكرر مرة أخرى.
But a second time, that same thing will happen again.
ستكون أنت الضحية.
But you will be the one without the choice.
وغيرك هو البطل.
And someone else will have power over you.
فإذا أحسنت البطولة في الحدث الأول.
So if you are good the first time that it takes place, you did well.
سيحسن لك التصرف في الحدث الثاني.
Then others will treat you well the second time it takes place.
وإذا أسأت البطولة في الحدث الأول.
And if you are evil the first time it takes place,
في الحدث الثاني سيساء التعامل معك.
then others will treat you badly the second time it
ولو
takes
بعد 40
place.
سنة.
Even if the time between the two is 40 years.
في التعامل مع والديك.
When it comes, for example, to dealing with your parents,
أنت سجل الأحداث التي بينك وبين والديك.
look at all of the events, the things that take place between you and your parents.
وإذا استطعت أن تسجلها في الجهاز الهاتف كأنها فيلم سجلها واحفظها عندك.
And if you could record them, keep them with you as a video recording, do so.
سترى نفس الموقف سيتكرر معك مع أبنائك.
Because you will see the same things will happen that your children will do with you.
إذا أحسنت التعامل مع والديك.
If you are good towards your parents,
سترى نفس العملية ستحصل لك مع أبنائك.
you will see that your children will respond to you in the same way when it's their turn.
وإذا أسأت التعامل مع والديك.
But if you are not good in the way that you dealt with your parents,
سترى نفس الموقف سيتكرر مع أبنائك.
you will see that your children will treat you in very much the same way.
يقول أحدهم.
Someone said,
وكنا جالسين نحن في رمضان بعد التراويح كنا جالسين في المسجد.
he said, as they were sitting together one night after Ramadan, they were sitting in the masjid after Taraweeh.
وكان أحد المصلين في المسجد قد أتى اليوم من العمرة.
And one of the members of the congregation had just returned from Umrah.
فقال لنا وانا نشرب الشاي بعد التراويح قال حصل لي موقف غريب.
So he said, as we were sitting together drinking tea after Taraweeh one evening, he said something strange happened to me. He said that my skin trembled as a result. What happened?
قال عندما وصلت إلى باب الحرم المكي.
He said that when I went for Umrah and I went to the door of the Haram,
وكان معي ابني.
and I was with my son.
نزعت نعلي.
I took off my shoes.
فجأة ابني أخذ نعلي وجعلها تحت إبطه.
He said my son quickly went, he grabbed my shoes and he placed them under his arm.
كأني مسمار كما يقول.
So he said that I was frozen. And my skin began to crawl. Why?
قال منذ 40 سنة.
He said because 40 years ago,
ذهبت مع أبي إلى الحرم.
I went with my father to the Haram.
نزع نعلين ليدخل الحرم.
And he took off his shoes because he wanted to enter the masjid.
أخذت نعلين جعلتهم تحت.
And I took his shoes and I placed them under my arm.
رأيت نفس الموقف حدث لي بعد.
So I saw what I did with my father, my son is doing now for me.
كل حدث يتكرر مرتين.
And that is why everything happens twice.
إذا أسأت في الأولى سيساء.
If you do evil the first time, it will be done to you as well.
وإذا أحسنت البطولة في الأولى سيحسن لك.
And if you do good, it will be done to you as well.
وآخر يخبر عن علاقته مع والديه.
And another person mentioned his story with his parents.
يقول أنا كنت صغيرا عمري ربما 7 سنوات 8 سنوات.
He said, this man, that when I was young, 7, 8 years old,
كانت أمي نامت على ملحفة لي أنا.
he said that my mother was sleeping on my mattress.
فأتيت إليها
So I came to her
قلت يا الله هذه ملحفتي أريد أن أنام عليها.
and I said to her, that's my place, I want to sleep there.
قالت أنا أمك.
She said to me, I'm your mother.
قلت هذه ملحفتي.
He said, no, it's mine.
قال بعد 40 سنة.
He said, 40 years later,
حصل لي هذا الموقف مع ابني تماما.
he said, my son did exactly the same thing.
والله تذكرت وقت مع أمي توسيت.
He said, I remembered exactly the same thing for my mother.
الله حكم عدل.
So I said to myself, Allah is just.
أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful because you're dealing with Allah.
إخواني في تاجر ملياردير.
There was a multi-millionaire businessman
وملياردير خليجي. من أهل الخليج.
from the Gulf.
كان الفقراء يأتون إليه ويطلبون فتاة من المال شيء قليل ريال ريالين.
They would come to him and they would ask for money, a couple of riyals here and there.
أنا لست وكيلا لآدم حتى أنفق على أبنائه.
And he would say, I'm not responsible for all of mankind that I have to provide for everyone.
هم أبناء آدم، لا أريد أن أنفق على أبناء آدم.
They're the children of Adam. I can't provide for all of his children.
وكان هذا إذا ابنته اشتهت آيس كريم من فرنسا في نفس اليوم يرسل طائرة خاصة لشراء آيس كريم والإتيان به لابنته.
But this man was so wealthy that if his daughter wanted an ice cream, he would fly it in from France on the same day.
ومع ذلك يقول أنا لست وكيلا عن آدم.
But he wouldn't go around helping those other humans.
مرت الأيام.
Days passed by.
أصبح فقد كل ثروته.
And he lost all of his wealth.
وأصبح مديونا بالملايين.
And he fell into debt to the tune of millions.
أراد أن ينتقل من مصر إلى جدة ما عنده قيمة تذكرة الطائرة.
And he wanted to go from Egypt back to his home in Jeddah and he didn't have enough money for the ticket.
تصدق أحدهم عليه فاشترى له تذكرة.
But someone else donated money to him so that he could buy his plane ticket.
وأصبح مقعدا على كرسي.
And he needed a wheelchair for a walk.
فانتقل بالدرجة السياحية التي كان يستخف بها.
And so he now had to travel economy, the same class of travel that he would look down upon before.
وصل إلى جدة.
So he arrived in Jeddah.
الآن عنده موقف سيارات ليذهب إلى الشقة.
And now he needs a car in order to get home.
حتى البيت ربما لا يملك.
Even the house that he wants to go back to may not be his anymore.
وقف فترة وما استطاع ركوب سيارة. ما عنده المال.
So he stopped because he doesn't have money for the taxi fare.
مر عليه رجل.
So someone else passed by
قال فلان.
and he said to him, what's wrong?
قال أجل. قال أجل.
He said yes. He said, are you so and so? He said yes.
قال مالك.
So he,
وأنا في على كرسي.
he asked him, what are you doing sitting here waiting?
سكت.
So he went quiet.
فهم هذا الرجل لماذا سكت.
So the man understood the question, he understood why he went quiet.
استأجر له سيارة ودفع له السيارة.
So he said, I'll get a car for you and I'll pay for it.
وقال له لك مني شهريا أدفع لك النفقة حتى تستطيع أن تعيش.
And he said, every month I will give you some money to help you.
أخواني كيف تغيرت الأحوال.
Look at how Allah changed the situation.
أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful for you are dealing with Allah.
لا تنسى الله فينساك الله.
Don't forget Allah, lest Allah forget you.
نسوا الله فنسيهم.
They forgot Allah, Allah says, so Allah forgot them.
عندما لا تنسى الله الله عز وجل ينساك.
But when you do not forget Allah, Allah never forgets you.
موقف واحد الله عز وجل ينساه لك.
A single incident, Allah never forgets.
الناس عندما تتعامل معهم.
When you deal with people,
ربما شخص كل ما أراد شيء أعطيته.
maybe some people, every time they ask you for something, you give it to them.
يوم من الأيام طلب منك خذ ما أستطيع.
So one day though, when they ask you for something, you said, I can't help you today.
اسمح لي ما أستطيع أن
You apologize and say, I can't help you today.
سينسى كل ما قدمته له ويذكر الموقف الآخر.
That person will forget all of the good that you ever did, and they'll remember that one incident that you didn't help them.
لكن الله عز وجل موقفك القديم في طاعته ما ينساه ولو عصيته بعد
But
ذلك.
Allah Azza wa Jal remembers the good that you did, even if after that you disobeyed.
ولذلك احذر وانتبه انك تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful if you are dealing with Allah.
كن مع الله يكن معك.
So be with Allah and Allah will be with you. And all praises due to Allah.